Imagine this. You're standing in a place where humans would last minutes, crushing ocean pressure, -50 cold, or a desert with almost no water. So here's the question. How can anything live there at all? The answer is adaptation. Not strength, not luck, but millions of years of solutions to impossible problems. Today, it's top 10 animals that survive, where life shouldn't, from the deepest seas to polar ice and the driest deserts, and exactly why they can handle it. Number 10. The tardigrade, the unkillable micro-animal. Let's start with a question. How can something survive extreme cold, heat, dehydration, and even space-like conditions? Tardigrades do it by basically hitting a biological pause button. When conditions get brutal, they can dry out into a dormant state and protect their cells until water and normal conditions return. Why they survive? They're built to shut down safely, then restart, like a living backup file. That's how they outlast environments that would destroy most life. Number 9. The deep-sea anglerfish, living in total darkness. Next question. How do you hunt when there's no light and food is rare? Anglerfish use a glowing lure to attract prey in the dark. In the deep sea, energy is everything, so they rely on ambush rather than chasing. Why they survive? Bioluminescence helps them find food without wasting energy, and their bodies are adapted to high pressure and scarce meals. When they eat, they make it count. Number 8. The emperor. Penguin, the coldest parenting challenge on Earth. Okay, how do you raise a chick in Antarctic winter with brutal winds and freezing temperatures? Emperor penguins survive by teamwork and insulation. They huddle in rotating groups to reduce heat loss, and their dense feathers plus a thick fat layer trap warmth. Why they survive? Social behavior becomes a survival tool, and their bodies are built to conserve heat and energy during long fasting periods. Number 7. The Arctic fox, the desert, but made of ice. Here's the question. How do you live where winter feels endless and prey can vanish? Arctic foxes have compact bodies, short ears, and thick fur that reduce heat loss, basically nature's winter jacket. They also cache food and switch diets depending on what's available. Why they survive? Extreme insulation plus flexibility. In the Arctic, being a picky eater is a weakness, so they adapt their menu to the season. Number 6. The camel, the master of water management. Now, the classic. How can an animal walk for days in a desert and not collapse? Camels are experts at saving water. They can tolerate dehydration levels that would be dangerous for most mammals and reduce water loss through efficient physiology. Their bodies also handle huge temperature swings between day and night. Why they survive? They don't just store water, they manage it smartly, and their whole system is designed for heat, thirst, and long travel. Number 5. The fennec fox, built like a tiny desert antenna. Next question. How does something small survive scorching sand and limited shade? Fennec foxes avoid the worst heat by being active at night and using burrows. And those huge ears. They help release heat and pick up faint sounds of prey under the sand. Why they survive? Behavior plus anatomy. They schedule their life around cooler hours and use their bodies to dump heat and find food efficiently. Number 4. The Antarctic icefish, the fish with antifreeze blood. This one sounds unreal. How can a fish survive in water that's cold enough to freeze blood? Icefish and some Antarctic fish produce antifreeze proteins that stop ice crystals from growing in their bodies. Some even have unusual blood chemistry compared to typical fish. Why they survive? They turned freezing temperatures into a livable environment by preventing internal ice damage, basically biological antifreeze. Number 3. The Pompeii worm, living next to underwater fire. Here's the question. How can an animal live near hydrothermal vents, where temperatures can swing from near freezing to super hot? Pompeii worms live in tubes near vents and rely on protective layers and partnerships with microbes. Those microbes can form a kind of living shield and may help deal with toxic chemicals. Why they survive? They're not surviving alone. Their biology and microbial allies turn a toxic extreme zone into a home. Number 2. The bar-headed goose, flying where there's barely oxygen. Okay, how is this possible? How can a bird fly over the Himalayas, where humans struggle to breathe? Bar-headed geese have highly efficient breathing and blood oxygen systems that help them absorb and use oxygen better at high altitudes. Why they survive? Their bodies are optimized for thin air, strong lungs, efficient oxygen transport, and endurance that makes impossible altitude possible. Number 1. The giant tube worm, thriving with no sunlight at all. Final question. How can something live deep in the ocean without sunlight? No plants, no normal food chain. Giant tube worms near hydrothermal vents don't rely on photosynthesis. Instead, they host bacteria inside their bodies that convert chemicals from vent fluids into energy, chemosynthesis. Why they survive? They outsource making food to bacteria, turning toxic chemicals into a power source. In a place where light doesn't exist, chemistry becomes the sun. And that's the list. 10 animals that prove life doesn't just cope, it invents solutions. Antifreeze blood, oxygen hacks, microbial partnerships, night lifestyles, and energy from chemicals instead of sunlight. So, quick question to end. Which one shocked you the most? The icefish, the tube worm, or the bar-headed goose? Drop your pick in the comments, and if you want a part 2, tell me the theme. Deep sea survivors, desert legends, or polar extremes. See you in the next one.